Thanks for tuning in once again to our horse racing coverage on Proline TV. I'm your host, Greg DePalma. Thanks once again as we are getting ready for a big race card at Saratoga with the Travers Stakes on Saturday. Jon Hardoon from the Raggers and Sheets joining us once again. John, how's it going?
Good, Greg. How are you?
Doing okay. So this is going to be a race in your neck of the woods. How's the weather looking on Saturday?
Saturday's supposed to be good. The next hour or two here, not so good. There's tornado watches and everything else. So it's about to storm here.
Have you had a tornado in the area?
Never.
Never.
First time I ever saw it. Well, you're like telling me be prepared, hide under the bed or something?
No, I was about to say, well, I guess you don't have anything to worry about then.
Okay, good.
Okay. Anyway, so last week was interesting. So we had the biggest race of the week that we covered. We did not hit, but you gave away the free bonus race in race 1 last week, which paid $12 to win. What was the name of the horse again?
Flamboyant.
So that was a winner. My bonus pick was a winner. I hit the exacta with the long shot, and the second race on the card you hit, which was the heavy favorite. I forget what the exacta was. What did the exacta pay out? Pretty short price.
Yeah.
But hey, like we've always said,
you can only give them what we could give them.
That's it. You can't be taking long shots in every race. And that's going to come about also in this one. Matter of fact, Mr. Garduno appreciates the extra pick last week, John.
No problem. My pleasure.
So, yes. Don't forget, anytime anybody wants to donate to the show, you can do that. You can also just hit the like button. That will help go a long way in spreading the news as far as our show. Give us more content to provide for more viewership, and then we get more advertising revenue from YouTube. All right. So we have 2 races that John is going to be with us on the card on Saturday at Saratoga, including the Travers. I'll do the bonus race number 11 when John's gone. We've got the Ballerina first, followed by the Travers. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road as we pop up the entries for the Ballerina. And this is a big field. We have, what is this, a 12-horse field? And yep. The morning line favorite is the 7-horse Ways and Means. And Ways and Means is a 9-5 shot. Chad Brown Pratt combo. Interesting that this horse has only won twice in his last 5 starts, so he could be vulnerable. And but the good thing, John, also is that this is a big field with 12 horses.
Yeah, but she happens to love Saratoga. She's 5 for 6 at Saratoga lifetime, so. And Pratt re-ride. So there's a lot to like about it, but I'm going to beat her.
All right. I like to hear that. So this is 7 furlongs. This is grade 1, 500,000 fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Should start about 10 to 6 on Saturday. And we start with, before I go in, just so everybody knows, there have been 9 different jockeys over the last 9 years in this race. So the jockeys in this race that have already won in those last 9 are Saez, Jose Ortiz, Velasquez, Castellanos, and Gaffalione. So we'll start with the 1, Echo Sound, which I actually think is an interesting long shot. I mean, we're going to try to make some money here if we go with one of the favorites. The 4 happened in July. Then something happens, has a big, bad race the following race. Expected a bounce, but it was really bad because the second race after that was even worse. So then
that's what's wrong with that's what the problem. The 19 is the problem, not the 16. 16 was coming off the 4. The problem is the good thing. Listen, you can make cases back and forth. The 4 that she happened to have run was at Saratoga last year. So her 2 starts at Saratoga was a 4, and then the 16, which was the bounce off the 4. I get it. You want to use those? Listen, she came back and ran a 10, so that's a positive sign.
And that, and that was after a 10-month layoff.
Yeah, I mean, she's 15-1. Absolutely,
Yeah.
she has a chance if you like her.
Because, I mean, every race that this horse has been in, or at least the last 9 races, she's been one of the either favorites or top contenders.
Okay, fine.
And here you're getting 15-1. She's won 6 out of 9 lifetime. Okay. Yep. Next up is the 2, and this is going to be my top pick, Kilwin. So Jose Ortiz on board, and this horse won the test, grade 1. She won that one at Saratoga at 7 furlongs, went on turf for whatever reason. She's not good on turf. Came back after a layoff in July and ran another 8, winning that race. She's 8-1. She's 1-for-1 at Saratoga, 2-for-2 at this distance, and 2-for-2 on a fast dirt track. What do you think about Kilwin?
Everything is fine, and everything you said is true. The question is if you think an 8 is going to win this race. If you think an 8 is going to win the race, well, then you can bet Kilwin's. I think you need a 4 or a 5 to win. So that's why I was not as high on this horse as you were. But there's nothing wrong with the horse. There's nothing wrong with the line. Everything is good about the horse. She would just have to improve a lot here.
Yeah, she'd have to have her best race.
Right.
Next up is the long shot, Munnings Express. This horse is too slow.
Correct.
Next up is 4, Usha. And Usha's got a grade 1 win. She won the La Brea last December running a 7, but she hasn't been able to get back to that 7. She's actually gone the wrong way since then. A couple of 9s, 11, and a 13.
Yeah, not often you'll see Baffert with a 12-1 shot in a stake race, but that's the case here. And rightfully so. She's going, like you said, in the wrong direction. Her last race was off a layoff at Saratoga. She should have run a lot better than the 13, and she didn't.
The 5 is Grammy Girl, and Safi Joseph is off to a slow start at Saratoga.
I believe he's 2 for 50, something like that.
Yeah. That's a nice way of putting it. He's off to a slow start. Grammy Girl, 30-1. Castellano on board. Ran a 7 in May in a grade 3 win. What about Grammy Girl?
So let's cover the 7. And what does she have? Nothing. And even if she runs a 7, she doesn't have to win. And the 7 would be, asking her to run the 7, I think, is stretching it at this point in her career.
Okay, next up is the 6, Kappa Kappa, another big long shot who also ran a 7 2 starts ago in a win. She also ran a 7 last September in a victory. What about 30-1 shot Kappa Kappa?
No good, no good, no good.
Yeah, everything else.
Why should I like this horse?
Yeah, everything else except those 7s are all in the teens.
One 7 was at Parks, and the other 7 was at Parks, and they were both on Lasix. Let's see her do it without Lasix, like she ran her last race of 14. She will have no Lasix on Saturday, so keep that in mind.
The 7 is the favorite, Ways and Means. Chad Brown, Pratt combo, coming off back-to-back 6s at 7 furlongs so far this season. Last year, she ran a 4 at Saratoga. Matter of fact, she's won the last 2 Better Roses at Saratoga.
She's 5 for 6 at Saratoga, and the race she didn't win, she ran 2nd. So obviously she likes the track. She gets Pratt, she gets Chad Brown, everything else that goes with it. But she's going to be 3 to 5. So for that reason, I'm using her, but I'm keying a different horse.
Yeah, and again, keeping in mind she's been basically the favorite in every race, and she's only won 2 of the last 5.
Yeah, and she also has physical problems. She had 2 races at 2. As a 3-year-old, she put in a whole campaign. She ran 6 times, but last year only twice. This year only twice.
Okay, next up is the 8, Maida. And Maida is a 10-1 shot. She's won 5 out of 7. And she also is 1-for-1 at Saratoga. She's coming off a grade 2 win at Saratoga, going wire to wire, running a 9. She's run back-to-back 9s. She also ran a 7 last September.
Yeah, well, I think she's a little slower. By the way, her last race when she won in Saratoga, the track was a conveyor belt that day. Any horse that made the lead won. So, I would be a little leery of her last race.
The 9 is Paradise City, and that's Safi Joseph again. And it's not like the jockey's having a good beat either. Wow, 5%.
Yeah.
Anyway, the horse is coming off her best race. She ran an 8 at Pimlico in
No,
July.
no, that was at Prairie Meadows.
Oh, Prairie. Okay. And then before that, all 13s and 14s and 15s.
He's too slow. Yeah.
All right. Next up is the 10, and this is Our Disaster. And now Our Disaster, a 5-1 shot. Looking at some of the good things are she has run several 6s, 3 in fact, since September. Keeping in mind though that after she runs the 6s, she's run a 9, finishing second, and then she ran a 10 and finished in third. She's 16 of 16 in the money with 9 wins. Again, this is Safi Joseph once again. The other thing to consider is that in these last 10 races, at least, the furthest back she's ever started was 6th, and here she'll be starting 10th.
Well,
and she's had 4 months off too.
That's only the post position. Yeah, listen, if you cover the 10 that she ran 2 starts back off the 6 with no rest, if you cover that 10, because that 10 was coming off the 6, okay? But she's got plenty of time. The problem is the barn is so dead, but I have to use this horse. This horse has number power. She never runs a bad race. The 9 she ran off the 6 last year, she had trouble. You see the big T. The 10 she ran off the 6 this year was with no rest. She had a bounce. You know, the problem is the barn is not going well. But if you're looking at numbers, you must use this horse.
Yeah, and also as maybe the top contender or two in this race to the favorite, at least you're getting a decent number at 5-1 for a horse that's run several 6s.
Okay.
Next up is the 11, Beauty Reigns. And Beauty Reigns is coming off a 6 at Saratoga, 7 furlongs, a win. That was on Lasix.
Yeah. She had 8s last year.
So she has been getting last year. She's a big number at 15-1.
Yeah, I'm throwing her in. She has 2 8s at Saratoga last year, which were both tops, by the way. So that's interesting. Obviously, she likes this track. This year, her last race was a 6, another new top at Saratoga. How could you not play this horse or use this horse anyway?
Yeah. And then you have the 12. Is that an L? Eclatant.
Yeah, Eclatant.
Eclatant. And this is the second choice, 3-1 shot. Cox and Franco. And another situation you got to keep in mind, she's way outside. The last time she had this, she only had an outside post once before. She was like this far out, at least, in her career. That was in 11. And she ran that race last May, and she finished 9th. She obviously wants, like she did in that race, she wants to go pretty much for the lead. But her numbers are really solid. She's got a 6, a 4, and a 6 this year.
Yeah, well, I'm using this horse. This is my top selection. I think she's a much better 4-year-old than she was before. Drawing the 12 post going this distance is a good post position. Not a bad post position. This is a good thing. I like this horse drawn outside there, and this is going to be my top selection.
Okay, so there you go. Those are the 12 horses in the field. John, you're going with the 12 over.
Exact is with the 7, 10, 11 underneath. 12 over the 7, 10, and 11.
All right, and I will do the 2 over the 1, 7, and 11. The 2 over the 1, 7, and 11. That is the 12th, the Ballerina at Saratoga. Now we move on to the biggie, the Travers, as I move the entries into position. And this one is a 10-horse field, 1.25 miles, 1.25 million for 3-year-olds. This should go off right about 6:35 Eastern on Saturday. The favorite, the morning line favorite, is the 9, Golden Tempo, the Kentucky Derby Belmont winner. And let's go through the field here. Starting with the 1, Emerging Market, a 15-1 shot. Chad Brown training the horse, coming off an 8. The last time he came off an 8, he ran a 15 in the Derby. What about Emerging Market?
Well, he had Lasix for the last 8, so that doesn't thrill me. You know, he's coming off of Lasix, and he's more likely to react, but he is 15-1. So if you wanted to play him, I could understand.
Okay, the 2 is Leading Change, and this is a Cox-trained horse. Manuel Franco. 2 sevens to start his career, including a grade 3 win. That was at Indianapolis, though. 12-1 long shot. What do you think about a horse after back-to-back sevens?
Well, this is my top selection. I know he's light. He's light on experience. It's only his 3rd lifetime start, but he's a fresh horse. He's at a gun runner. He's going to get better with distance. The 7 last time out was without Lasix. His first start, he was as impressive as could be. Not easy to win going 7 furlongs first out. That's what he did. He's a price play. I don't like the favorites in this race, so therefore I'm looking for a price play, and this is one of the horses I think is going to be a price, and I'm using this horse. This is going to be my key.
Leading change to 12-1 shot. 2 sevens to start his career.
It's called a pair also, by the way.
Oh, that's very true.
Thank you.
I'm glad you recognized that for yourself. But yes.
It was kind of staring me in the eyes. I'm surprised you didn't mention it, but that's all right.
Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't either. Next up is Napoleon Solo. And this is Chad Summers. You got Velasquez on board, who's actually not having all that great a meet. Now, Napoleon Solo had that 9 in the Champagne win last year, and then ran 12-15-12.
He won the
Preakness with a 12.
Yeah, slowest Preakness ever.
Slowest Preakness ever. So, comes out and has a really good effort, runs his best race of his career, runs a 7 in the slop, losing to the long shot. Now you got to wonder about a potential bounce situation, but at least you're still getting 8-1.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's things here I don't understand. Paco Lopez rode this horse in the Haskell last time out. He got beat on the wire like by a half a length. The time before that, he rode this horse in the Preakness and he won. And now they take him off the horse. That just doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, something's going on that we're not privy to. Why would he take Paco Lopez off this horse? It makes no sense. Anyway, I think he's bouncing off the 7 anyway. Not only that, the 7 was on a wet track. The 9 that he ran last year, the track certainly had moisture in it. I remember that race at Aqueduct. I'm playing him to react. Listen, if you like him, you're getting 8-1, but I think he's a lot more likely to go backwards than he is to repeat or make a forward move.
Yeah, the other interesting thing is that Paco Lopez is now on the horse that beat Napoleon Soto.
Exactly. So I don't understand what that trainer and owner did. The guy wins $1 million Haskell race for you, and his reward is we take you off the horse. There's no loyalty left in this game.
Yeah, that was Vargas.
Yeah, not only that, he gave the horse an unbelievable ride. If you remember, he came up the rail. You can't give a better ride than that guy gave to that horse last time, and his reward, you're off the horse. Well, it's a doggy world. What can I tell you?
The 4, the Puma, and of course the Puma ran that 5 in the Florida Derby, was unable to ride.
You got to use this horse. The 10 last time out was on a wet track. Okay, so you could throw that race out. Before that, he had a 5 and an 8. He passed all the big races. He passed the Derby. He passed the Preakness. He passed the Belmont. He was freshened up. Now he's back. This horse is going to run. I'm definitely using this horse. I was almost going to key this horse, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, the Puma was my pick in the Derby, and then he was unable to race. So I stuck with him in the Haskell, and I'm definitely not going to go away in this one because I agree with you with some of the favorites in this race. I'd like to beat them. And on an added bonus, Javier Castellano has won this race 7 times. So,
and he finally won his 6,000th career win yesterday. He got it in the last race at Saratoga, so he's flying high.
Okay, excellent. So there you go. That'll be my top choice. The Puma, I'm going to give him another chance. Second start after the 5. Okay, next up is the 5, Renegade. And Renegade's a 3-1 shot. Pletcher and Gaffleone. Ortiz, who was normally on this horse, of course, he has to ride the Derby and Belmont winner. So Gaffleone
No,
takes
no,
over.
no. That's the other Ortiz. Irad rides him. Irad got hurt. Irad's on the sidelines. If you remember, he didn't run last week. He's out until September 3rd.
Okay.
He'll be back September 3rd, and he's not even going to come back to Saratoga. He'll be riding in Kentucky Downs. So it's not that Ortiz, it's Irad. So you're thinking of Jose, who's riding Golden Temple.
All right. Anyway, the horse is coming off a grade 2 win at Saratoga. They ran an 8 in that one. Also ran a 6 in the Arkansas Derby. So you can see why he's one of the top contenders. The only thing I guess I got to ask you, John, that I question is does this horse like the distance?
Well, that's a question because at 12 and 10 were both marathon distances, 2 and 3 starts back. One was 1.25 miles at the Belmont, which was at Saratoga. The other was the 1.25 miles at Churchill for the Derby. Now he's got running 1.25 miles again. Not only that, he's going to be short. So why am I looking to bet him? You know, if I'm king of a horse like the 2 or the 4 that are long, well, then I'll include Renegade, but I'm not betting him. No way.
Okay, I agree. Next up is Oselli. He's still
A
looking
maiden.
He's still looking for his win.
Of a maiden horse that's earned $800,000.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what do you mean? It's unheard of.
That's crazy. So hey, keep doing it. Who cares about winning races, right? All right. Next up is Sea Strike, a 5-1 shot. Chad Brown Pratt combo. Now I ran a 7 the last time, but you're going to get a bounce here for sure, and you're not getting any value at 5-1.
Well, it's not necessarily that you're going to get a bounce because last time was his first race going long. He's bred to run all day long. His 2 races prior to his last race were both sprints. It's Chad Brown. He doesn't have to bounce, but the price is ridiculous. I don't want 5-1 on this horse. Chances are he's reacting. You're 100%. If you had to guess whether he's going to repeat the 7, make a forward move, or go backwards, he's like 40% to go backwards. So I don't think there's any edge in playing this horse at 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, keep an eye on the horse in case you get better odds. Other than that, Baby Vino. Now, speaking of value, this horse is getting no value after at 10-1 after an impressive win. The other thing about Baby Vino, and I know it was on slop, but the numbers, the lines, 23, 15, 13, 10, 10, and 8. This horse just keeps getting better. So, look, it's 10-1.
You could definitely use him at 10-1. No question about it. He's never gone backwards. Every race this year is better than the previous race.
Okay, and then next up is
the
9. Yep, this is the favorite, the Derby and Belmont winner.
Okay,
he's
so
a closer.
I have a question for you. Take his sheet and take Baby Vino's sheet and put them next to each other and tell me what the difference is.
Actually, Baby Vino is a little bit better, maybe.
Yeah, Baby Vino ran the 8. This horse never ran the 8. So you got 10-10-8 on Baby Vino. You got 10-10-9 on Golden Temple. Why would I bet Golden Temple at this price?
It's one of those things where, he's you could say everything you want about, and nobody's putting down the accomplishments of DeVoe and Ortiz and everything else. But the fact is when you run 10 and 9 in the Derby and the Belmont and you win both races, you got a little lucky.
Yeah, like Napoleon Solo ran at 12 in the Preakness. Those races aren't one with those kind of numbers. This crop turned out the good ones, like the Ted Naffis and other horses, they're all on the sidelines and hurt. So the horses this is a weak crop compared to previous. You're comparing these horses to Sovereignty from last year and Journalism. No comparison.
And we knew it at the time. We loved last year. Last year was awesome. So I just find it hard to believe that this horse is going to do it a 3rd straight time.
Not only that, why is he better than the next horse? By the way, there's one other key thing about Golden Temple that you should really realize. He was last seen in the Belmont, right, which is back on June. She wanted to run this horse either in the Jim Dandy, one of these other prep races for this race, and the horse was sick. So he missed training time. So you want to bet a short horse, a short-priced horse, that didn't, certainly miss training when he was sick. There's no edge in playing the 9 at a short price.
Now, what happens, and I don't know, I haven't gone into it as much as some people, of course, would, but the horse is a closer. There are several other closers in the field.
There's not a lot of speed. That's the one thing that's going to help Napoleon Solo. He could find himself on the lead. You know, I don't think that you're just going to let him go for a stroll in the park. Listen, it's $1,200,000.
It happened in the last race. That was the funny part about it.
Yes. But these guys are too smart. I don't see it happening. Well, we'll see what happens on Saturday.
Yeah. So,
but you're right. To go like horses like Renegade, Golden Tempo, they need speed up front to help them.
Yeah.
They're not going to get it.
And then you've got Silent Tactic, a 10-1 shot coming off back-to-back 8s. One was in March. The other was August 1st. Interesting is that, yes, he's running 10th. Well, the last time he ran out wide, late, was an 9th post position, in the Southwest. And he closed to win that race. This is the last win for this horse, was an outside post. And then taking a look here, there has been only 4 weeks off. So that's about I don't think there's any horses that have that less time off.
But 7 for 7. The race was at Saratoga. The horse hasn't done anything wrong this year. This was another one, by the way, that was sick after that race at Oaklawn. That's why he missed the Derby, if you remember. So he got the race in. He did what Golden Tempo couldn't do. He was able to get a race in. You know, he was not squeezed for that race. He ran in third. They just wanted to get him a race, and they did it. So that's okay.
Yeah, the other horse, there's only 2 horses in this field who have ran in August, and the other horse was Renegade. They ran in that Jim Dandy.
They ran on August 1st. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going with the 2 leading change exactas with the 4, the Puma, the 5, Renegade, the 8, Baby Vino, and the 10, Silent Tactic. 2 with 4, 5, 8, 10. Reverse them.
And I am going with the 4. I'm also taking the 2, the 3, and the 8.
Okay.
So John again, the 2 over 4, 8, 10. I've got 4 over 2, 3, 8.
4, 5, 8, 10. 2 over 4, 5, 8, 10. But it's
okay. 4, 5, 8, 10. Got it. All right, John. So we'll do this again next week. We take off the week after that. But next week, there are going to be more big races coming up. 2 grade 1s, actually, including the Spinaway at Saratoga. There are 5. I don't know if did we ever do Kentucky Downs?
That's not a track for us, but we'll do it if you want. It's up and down. They run 6 days or 8 days out of the whole year. They go up and down hills.
That's one of those tracks.
Yeah, It's a really hard track.
Well, hopefully we'll get those 2 graded stakes races at Saratoga next week. There's also a grade 1 at Del Mar. Those are young horses though, the Del Mar debutante. But we'll definitely get some race action in next week, John. So appreciate your time as always.
All right, guys. Stay safe and be well. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. See you next week.
Thank you. That's Jon Hardoon. And let's see. We got some comments here. Let's see. Okay. Interesting. All right, let's take a look at the bonus race. Where are we? So we hit the bonus. You know what was funny about hitting the bonus race last week? Was we had, that was the one where we had the favorite. And we were looking for long shots. And so we had like 4, I think. 4 or 5. I think we had 4. And that's about maximum for me. Sometimes I don't even do 4 sometimes. And then I remember we talked about the 2. And it was another long shot. And I was like, well, I'm not going to play them all on the same card. Again, I don't know if it was 3 or 4. But I said, you know what I'll probably do is just do the exacta, which is what I always do. Whoever's my lead horse, all the other horses are in a box exacta. And I said, okay, but you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and I'll do me personally, I'll probably just do a single exacta box with the 2 horses, the winner and the 2. And at the very last second, I said, all right, you know what? I'll just put the 2 in there anyway. And it came through. So that was nice. I really did not expect it, because when we were watching the race, the 2 really made a late charge from a little bit on the inside. And I was just not expecting it. Based on the way the race was unfolding. But that was awesome. Those are the ones that are pretty awesome, hitting those exactas with the favorite and being able to cash in some decent money. Okay, let's see. Where are we? All right, race 11. So, and again, if you've already subscribed to our show, hit that like button. All that stuff is really important to help us grow the channel and our traffic. Okay. So the morning line favorite here is Bookham Dano. It's no big surprise. Everybody's going to pick Bookham Dano to win this race. Matter of fact, when we turn it on, I don't know, like with about 20 minutes to go at post, we'll probably see 1-9 or something crazy like that. So this horse is just, he's not going to get beat. He's got what, 4 and a 5 coming in. He had a 2 last July. He had 2 4s last year, and now he's coming in 10, 5, and 4 in these 3 races. It's just been really awesome. You know what's interesting is this Paco Lopez. We've been talking a lot about him today. So Paco Lopez is on Baby Vino, and we're betting that horse. And then Paco Lopez, where is Paco Lopez it's with Kappa Kappa. Okay, so that's no good. For some reason, I thought maybe he was in all 3 races. But we've got Paco here in a really good spot on a horse that he has ridden for quite a long time. Good for him. He's got big wins, including the 4-go last year. So he ran an 8 in that race, which is actually one of his slower numbers. But that was coming off the 2. So it was predictable that his number would bounce, and it did. Didn't matter. Still won the race. Then he took some time off, came back in that grade 2 race and ran a 10. And that's pretty much the slowest number he had run in a long time. And then he came right back the last 2 races with a 5 and a 4 and said, I'm not going anywhere. He's won 5 out of 6 at Saratoga. So he likes the track as well. So this is easily the winner as far as any handicapper would give up. So we're gonna have to try to see if we can make some money off the winner. So let's see if we can do that. Sort of like what happened in the bonus race last week. The 1, I'm going to put the 1 in there as the only short-priced horse in this field. Hopefully I'll get better than 5. But the reason I'm going to go with the 1 is last year from May to August, he ran 8.87. So he was running his best races, and he had won, I think, let's see, he had run, just want to make sure he had that 3-race win. Yeah, so he had run 3 straight wins, 8.87. So everything's going great for Tip Top Thomas. And then in November, something happened. He ran a 15, ended up finishing 3rd, but he was way back, and something happened. Ran a 15. So he takes time off, 8 months, comes back last month and runs a 9, barely loses, lost by a neck, was on Lasix at the time. And now he's back in a big grade 1 race. So I'm sure Pletcher said, okay, we got the 1 race out of the way, little tune-up. He's got Pratt back on board. Pratt was on board last time. He's won at Saratoga. I think this horse, now again, I don't know if I'm going to get better than 5-1. He is the 3rd choice in this race. So probably going to get about 5-1. I'm not sure I would take the horse if it gets any lower. I don't think it's going to get any lower, but it is Pratt and it is Pletcher. So if it was lower, like it's one of those deals where all I'm going to make is like $5 or something, then I'm just going to pass. All right. Next up is the 2. And this is another horse. Well, now we're going to get to some long shots. So I think there's good value with him because him is coming in with 3 wins and a runner-up. The runner-up was in the grade 2 race. And that's important because before the grade 2 race, for the most part, he's just running in allowance races and a claimer, and, that's about it. And it's okay. He's got a couple of allowance wins, so that's nice. And he was also on the Lasix for a while, but he comes off Lasix. He wins a stakes race, and that's at the point his biggest win. Then he moves up and graduates to a grade 2 race and almost wins that, finishes in second. And he ran an 8. So now we get into the numbers, the important stuff. So this year he goes 11, 8, 6, 6, 8, 8. Now, we don't want to see him go 8, 8 after 6, 6. But again, the last 2 races were his 2 biggest races competition-wise, and he held his own really well, including the grade 2 at Saratoga last time out, and we're getting 12-1. So that's why I'm going to put him in the mix. See if we can make some money off the favorite. Next up is the 3 T-Craft, Mott trained horse, 0 for 5 at Saratoga. That's not good. Also ran in the Vanderbilt race. Also had an 8, by the way. Finished 4th. If you take a look at it, in the 3 graded stakes races, he's finished 5th, 5th, and 4th. He has a 7 in May, an 8 last time out. 20-1 is the only good thing, but we can do a lot better. The 4, Crazy Mason. Now, this is another long shot we're going to play with the favorite. Crazy Mason was in this race last year. The loss to Bookham Dano, finished 3rd. Ran a 9. That was the last time he's been at Saratoga. His last 2 times at Saratoga that I don't know what, I haven't checked out the first race, but his last 2 at Saratoga, he's got 9s. He's been in the money 15-21, which is nice. Doesn't have a lot of wins, but he has a lot of seconds and thirds, which is the reason why I think this is a perfect horse to put in there with a favorite. He ran 9.99 to end the year. And then he ran an 11, came down to an 8, and back to an 11. But before the result, because the last race was actually, he's had 2 bad races in the last just 10, if we're looking at the sheet, the form here. And one of them was in the grade 1 Bing Crosby. He ran a 12 and finished 6th. But besides that and the last race when he ran an 11 and finished 6th, all of his other races are 8s, 9s, 7s, 10s, and he's got first, seconds, and thirds. So for a long shot, we'll put him in there. And then we skip over Bookham Dano to Senior Officer. This is one of the top contenders, and this is the second choice morning line. And Senior Officer, you got Cox, you got Saez. Hasn't been in any big races yet. Ran 6 times, all on the money with 4 wins. Won both races at Saratoga. Won the only 7 furlong race he raced, which was at Saratoga, and he ran a 6. So he really hasn't had any bad races. He had 2 9s last year, 3 6s, and an 8. So there's a lot to like about the horse, and you can see why the horse is 7-2. But a couple of things. 1, step up in competition. 2, the horse has never run off of Lasix. And the horse did not even race in 2025. Doesn't mean anything necessarily in this one. But the second favorite with the heavy favorite, yeah, I'm not interested. It's I could pick apart a few things there like we just did. I mean, the only reason that I would even consider senior officer, which I would definitely consider senior officer over the 1, is if I just went ahead and picked him to win, which I'm not going to do. But I still think it's a long shot at 7-2 with the step up in competition and all of the Lasix races. I still think that's a long shot, but the numbers are good. All right. Banishing is next, the 7. This is the oldest horse in the field. Gaffalione on board. 31 races, 11 wins. Hasn't won at Saratoga yet. Only raced once. But I'm going to put Banishing in as well. So I got 3 long shots in there. What is the other? Yeah, matter of fact, I am gonna think about. See, I got the 1 and I got to think about the 1 and the 6. I got to which one I want between the 1 and the 6, or maybe I take them both out and just go with all the long shots. But this is the 3rd long shot in the field with the favorite, and we're gonna go with Banishing. Now, last year at this time, basically in July, he ran a 4. So it wasn't that long ago we ran a 4. He wasn't able to come back to that number until December when he ran a 5. Okay, so that's good. He ends the 2025 campaign with a 4 and a 5 in his last 5 races. This year, he starts with a 9, which was predictable. He bounced to a 9. Then he goes to Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Cup, and that was just nothing. Runs in 11, but nothing. Goes to the Godolphin race, which was a grade 2. That was the next 6 weeks later, and wins the race. Wins a grade 2 race, running a 7. Then something happened in the race at Churchill. So we obviously draw a line through that one. There's a long shot in that race. And then comes back in his last start and runs an 8 and wins the race as the favorite. So look, there is a step up in competition here, but when it was a grade 2 race, he did perform well. It was just a short time ago. Last year, he's got 5s and 4s. He's 6 years old, but in 2 of his races this year, in 2 of his last 3 races, he's got an 8 and a 7, and he's 10-1. The 8 is Bring the Smoke, Jose Ortiz on board. The problem with this horse is he's German. In other words, 9999. That's the last 4 races. This horse just can't get off 9s. He ran an 11 and a 16 before that, so he hasn't gone backwards yet. So that's good. The only time he ran a 7 furlong race was on slop, and he won. 4 of his 6 races have been on Lasix, and he's got 3 wins. The one race that he has without Lasix winning the race, that was a maiden. That was when I guess he was running a maiden. And anyway, he ran a 9 in that one. I mean, the good thing is he's 10-1. I mean, it's not the worst idea in the world to finish second. But I think I got enough long shots. Unless I take out the 1 or the 6 and swap them with the 8. So let's see. Let's go back to the 6 and the 1. And let's see here. Okay. See if I can get caught up here trying to do everything. Take a look at some of the comments. This is an important question. Actually, a few years ago, this would have been the norm. So for a great deal of my life, I had goatee and longer hair. And then about, 3 to 5 years ago, I can't remember, the time just goes by, I stopped. And I was like, I'm getting older now. And I'm at that point, I got to start looking, I can't be having long hair as a 55-year-old or whatever I was at the time. I look silly. I'm too old to have long hair and a goatee. So I went to the professional look, which I had never done before. And I was okay with that. And I got used to it for about 5 years or so. And I don't know what it was a few months back. But I was like, yeah, I'm kind of bored of this. Let me see if I can get something going here on my face. And just at the same time, I started to let my hair grow again. And I always let it grow enough before I get the haircut, just a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, it's long enough. And then this time I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm so busy anyway. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to let it grow. So yeah, I'll cut it soon enough. It is getting too long. It's at that point now where I used to have a ponytail too. So I'm not getting that. That ain't happening. But I appreciate the lookout and that's a good spot there. Mr. Pick the pros and the ponies, excuse me. Okay, let's see. Oh, and also very good heads up with banishing cross entering on Friday night. So that would be the 7. Okay. Which means if that happens, I'm throwing in the 8. So what do you guys think about if you had to choose between the 6 and the 1? What is it that you guys like more about either of those horses? Because this is one of those situations where if you don't use the sheets, then you are clearly going to go with the 1 because you're going to look at a horse that is going up in class on Lasix. And that's it. You read the daily form. That's what you're doing. You're going, oh, look at this step up in class. Look at all these races on Lasix, 7-2. Nah, no way. But that's not how we do things now when we have the sheets. And that's what is always so tempting. Now, I will say, and I don't do the racing like John does, but for the most part, whenever we've done these races on the show, and I've seen horses in this situation, that they step up in class or they have these, this to kind of deal with senior officer. When I've seen that before, a majority of the time, the horse does not hit the board, does not win, does not finish in second. A majority of the time. It doesn't mean it's never happened before, but that's just me. Again, I know John handicaps the races religiously with the sheets for a reason. That's how he's been successful. And it's the only reason why I've done anything worthwhile. But that's the only time it scares me is when I see the jump up in competition and Lasix. And it's like, I also think that, hey, you know what? If this is not a Cox horse, then would I be getting 6-1? So there's a lot that goes in with the reason why, if I was looking at this, I probably would still go with the 1. Pletcher and Pratt, that's up there with the best. But I don't know. The good thing too is that at least on the morning line, I'd be getting 5-1 as opposed to 3.5-1. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's see if you guys can come up with some input. Senior officer just beat Tip Top Thomas last out with a brutal trip. Okay, I like that one. The only thing is Tip Top Thomas was coming off an 8-month layoff and almost won. So he barely lost the race after being off for 8 months. So I think that's important, but that's a great point. So both horses actually senior officer ran an 8 and Tip Top Thomas ran a 9. Ches. Oh, this is the Johnny Harpoon. In the mornings on race day, Las Vegas, Wednesday to Sunday. John is a class act and an excellent handicapper. There you go, Ches. He'd like to hear you say that. Too bad he wasn't here. Come back next week and say it to his face. Will he have that's look, we don't have the reason Chad Summers is not on the show is because Chad Summers did not want to be on the show. I don't know if maybe you weren't on when we've said this, but yeah, Chad is not on because Chad decided not to be on. We didn't tell Chad not to come on the show. Chad and hey, you know what? Maybe some of it was he felt that he had to spend more time concentrating on his business and be more serious. And I'm going to be a trainer 100% of the time. And it's worked, right? He's got that big, he's got a big horse winning big races. Obviously, I don't think that's the reason, but yeah, it was his call. So, I never rule out having Chad on the show or on the network in the future, but right now that's just not going to happen. But yeah, look, I've got him in my exactas this week. And the reason is as much as, because it's kind of funny, because the way we've been handicapping his horse, I think we've done it the last 4 races. So we did not do the Champagne, but we come into the Fountain of Youth. And the reason why we didn't take him there, or I'm going to say the reason I didn't, is because, okay, it's going to be probably a bounce situation. I know he's got enough time, but it's only his 3rd race, and it just didn't seem like the right race to do it. Then in the next race, in the Wood, which, by the way, he finished 5th in both of those races, so it's not like he did anything. He runs a 15. So then in the Preakness, I mean, why on earth would we take him when he's running 13, 12, and 15 in 3 of his 4 races? Just because he's got one good race. But we would never do that. And as I said before, at least me personally speaking, we don't, we're not going to just take the horse because Chad's training him. That would be silly. And then the Haskell, it's like, okay, well, he wins the Preakness, so you really should take him in the Haskell, right? Well, no, because he ran a 12 in the Preakness. And he was a very short price. Now he's a short price. So it's interesting. I remember, so he doesn't win the race. And I didn't even know, of course, at the time he ran a 7. So so it looked like he was going to win, but doesn't win. But the first thing I thought at the time was, well, that's good enough for me now. The next time he races, I'm probably going to take him. I don't know if I'll take him to win, but I'm probably going to take him. And then I see the 7. And actually, as soon as I saw the 7, it actually scared me first, because I was like, wow, now it looks like he might bounce. And now I'm giving myself another excuse to not take him almost. And I'm like, you know what? I'm still taking him because of the fact that he's on a nice run. He nearly won 2 back-to-back grade 1s. That would have been his 3rd grade 1 win. And even though logic suggests, as Spock would say, he would bounce in this situation, I'm going to take him because he's 8-1. And if he does wind up finishing 1st or 2nd, I'm going to make sure I have him this time. So, all right. Anyway, one. Oh, I think 1 will probably be the second choice. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I agree. I could see that. I mean, they both got big time trainers. Pratt, though, has a big edge. I mean, I don't think anybody has a better edge than Pratt when he's on board a horse. So, yeah, I could see that. Let's see. I do not know about that. And yeah, no, I don't. But that's not, again, that's talk radio banter and back and forth. Handicapping wise, there's really no response to that. It's just that, yeah, he ran a 12, but it's not a good number. So that's what we do all the time. We got to go to the next race, and we just go with what we have here. All right. So let's wrap this up. I'm going to go with the 5, as I said. Big surprise. And I'm definitely doing the 2. And I'm definitely doing the 4. And it looks like the 7's not in there. Obviously, if the 7's in there, I pick them. So we'll say the 7's out. So I'm going to take the 8. So I'm going to go with the 5, the 2, the 4, and the 8. And yeah, I'm going to stay away from the. Actually, you know what? I'll play the 1. Screw it, because he's 5-1. It's not a short price, so hopefully it won't be like $5. I don't know. Probably will be. If it is, I'm just personally speaking. If it is, I'm not taking them. But it's probably going to be a short price, which is probably why when it really comes down to it, I probably won't take them. But I'm definitely going to go the 5, the 2, the 4, and the 8. Hopefully we'll get another long shot with a heavy favorite. See if we can get that going. Coming up next week, we have the debutante at Del Mar. But again, even though it's a grade 1, they're young horses. So I'm not sure. We usually don't do horses that young, but we'll see. And then you've got the Spinaway and the With Anticipation at Saratoga. So fingers crossed that the Spinaway is good. Or at least one of those 2 are good. And if we get at least one graded stakes race out of it, then we could just go to another race. Doesn't matter. I always at least try to do one graded stakes race, one race with some sort of name recognition. So hopefully that'll come through, because I don't want to have to do the Kentucky Downs. I don't like those races. Even though I think the last time we did a race to hit one of those hilly races, I actually hit it, and I had never hit one before. So I think I'm like 1 for 12, something like that. So I've never been good with those races. Next week after that, it looks like we're taking off because there's only grade 1 races at Woodbine. Now, unless the schedule changes, and I will check, because the site I use for the scheduling, I think, is the who do I use? Let me see. Who do I use for that? I think I use Blood Horse, maybe? No. Or do I use the Forum or Blood Horse? Let me see. I know I can use the other one, but I just stick with the one. Yeah, I use the Forum. So they've actually been doing a bad job lately. Like, I'll look at the schedule in advance. Like, I like to know in advance for the whole month what we have. So I'll go ahead and put the schedule in, and I know, okay, when are we going to take off? When are we not? What are the big races this month? And then all of a sudden lately, and I never used to do this, like this happened twice in the last couple of months. I'll look at it, and then a couple of weeks later, matter of fact, this happened in the Arlington Million race that week. I was going over it, and I didn't even realize it was an Arlington Million or the card that day, because it wasn't on there. And so I remember John, we were doing the show. We were getting ready to do the show, like a minute before we went on the air. And John goes, why aren't we doing the Arlington Million? And I said, what? I didn't even know that was this week. It wasn't on the schedule. So that happened twice in the last few months, and that was very aggravating. So I have to make sure I check things a little bit more frequently, which is why, let's see. So let's see if they've updated it. So this is for the 12th, I believe. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So yeah, you see, what is this? What is this? Is this a Canada race? CTM. Then we've got Delaware, Laurel, and then there's all the Woodbine races, and that's it. So unless they pop in something there. Oh, look at this. Friday the 18th. What the hell? The Jockey Club Gold Cup is on Friday the 18th. I don't even know that. Why is that on Friday the 18th? I have to put that in there. Yeah. What's up with that? Does anybody know? Let's see. The 18th, Friday. And this is still. No, wait. Is that the first day of Belmont? Is that it? That's the first day of Belmont, isn't it? So that would be grade 1. Okay. So let me put it in there. 19th, Friday, 18th, Friday. Grade 1, Jockey Club Gold Cup. Okay. So who knows? Maybe we'll do that one because on the 19th, there isn't any Belmont, is there? Oh, yeah. Look at that. They got Floral Park race. How weird is that? So they're opening up and they've got a Friday race, a big race. And then there's no more big races at Belmont until the grade 2 the following Friday. But then you got all the big races to get going on the following Saturday. That's just very weird. So anyway, but that week we already had scheduled to come on because we only do parks once a year. And this is when we do it with all these races, the Pennsylvania Derby. So there are like 6 big races that day. Now we'll throw in the Jockey Club Gold Cup as well. And that'll be when we would say return. So next week, because I want to take 2 weeks off, but looks like next week will be the week we'll be on. We'll be off the week after, and then we come back with the Jockey Club Gold Cup and the Parks races. And then the week after that, that's when we get all those Belmont races and Santa Anita races. Matter of fact, the 26th, that Saturday, has 9 graded stakes races between Belmont and Santa Anita. So anyway, there you go. And if you're interested in other sports, I will be doing a NASCAR qualifying recap tomorrow. Keep in mind, CJ and I, we have a system each week where we basically say, okay, we're going to do $100 between the two of us. That's $200, 60, 30, 10, first, second, third pick. And we give that out every week. So if you used our formula just like that every week, all year, you would be up $2,000, which in NASCAR is phenomenal because we've been waiting to figure out a system that would work in NASCAR for a while. We used to make good money on NASCAR, like about 8 to 10 years ago in that range. And then they changed to this next generation car. And it's been so difficult to make money over the last, whatever it's been, 6 years, 4 years, whatever. And to the point where it was getting ridiculous. It's like, we can't make money on this anymore. And then this year came about and we put a new system together, which was this system where every week we rotate who gets the first pick. We can't make the same pick. So it really doesn't matter in a way if I ended up with, because I think on my side, I've made a lot more than CJ has. But it really doesn't matter because just kind of luck because like more than half the time, if I've got the first pick, I'm taking the driver that he would have taken. So it's just one of those things. That's why it's a good formula we have. Because like last week, he took the winning driver, and mine was in second. I had the long shot who was in second, 35-1, and he had the winning driver, which was the favorite that was 2-1. So even though it would have been much better if I won, not by much though, because the long shot is a $10 wager. His was a $60 wager. But either way, we won, and moved us up to 2,000. So anyway, if you're into that, we do that every week. We do the show together, and then on the day before the race, I do the qualifying and practice reports, and then update the picks. So that'll be tomorrow night. Daytona, huge race, playoff start next week. And another thing, if you don't mind wagering on NASCAR, if you're like somebody that, hey, you know what? I'm willing to listen to you. I don't like NASCAR, but if you've got some tips for me, I'll listen. Well, NASCAR futures, there are 3 drivers that I'm still really high on, and the odds are still good. And they are Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, and Chase Briscoe. We opened our Substack account a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure if you know that, probably not, but we have a Substack account. We just opened it up. One of the main reasons I wanted it opened up is because we could put written reports and articles on there. So and one of them, the very first one I did was 2 weeks ago. I did a NASCAR futures report, and I gave those 3 drivers. One was 9-1, the other was 16-1, and the other was 25-1. And I said before the race, because I liked those drivers in the race that was coming up that week. So before this race, make sure you lock these in, because if one of the 3 wins, their odds are going to change and so forth. So sure enough, we had out of the 3 drivers, first, second, and 8th. And with about 15 laps to go in the race, it was first, second, third. So that was awesome. And the winner was the 25-1 shot, Joey Logano. So he now moves to 15-1, which is still a good number. Bell just moved up to 7-1 now. So now all of a sudden his net price has gone from 9 to 7. So that's starting to get away from value. But that's the recommendation, is you got Christopher Bell, and at other sports books, his odds could be different, just like Logano and Briscoe. But Logano and Briscoe are still right around 14 to 16-1. Logano is a 3-time champ. Briscoe is one of the hottest drivers right now in the last couple of months. And so is Bell. So I recommend all 3 of those. And look, Denny Hamlin and Ryan Blaney are probably, those are the 2 favorites, and those are the 2 drivers that should be the favorites. Hamlin's never won a championship before, but his odds are really shorter because of the fact, not just because he's been the best this year, because he has, but because there's a lot of sentimentality. They want him to win. He's going to be retiring soon, and you got that. So he probably should be 2-1, 3-1 is even money, which is ridiculous in NASCAR. Formula One, that's different. NASCAR, even money to win a championship. There's still 10 races to go when the playoffs start. That's a lot of racing where stuff can happen. And so I think Hamlin should be a favorite. Blaney is still a decent price at 5-1. So it's not bad. But see, the problem is now is Bell is coming down to Blaney. So so if you can still get Bell at 8 or 9-1, that's good. If he starts creeping next to Blaney, then you've lost all value, because I think Blaney is just as good, if not better, than Bell. Because Blaney's already got a championship, and he's almost won the last 3 championships. He probably should have won 2 of them. Anyway, so that's if you're into NASCAR or you're just into a tip. And football starts, as you all know, and we're going to have programming on this channel. Matter of fact, we did a little coverage today. Mark Lawrence came back, did his show. He does his show every Thursday at 1. Jim Feist will start his show next Wednesday at Dom DeMarco's in Las Vegas. So that's great. And then so the Wednesday and Thursday shows. Not sure if we're going to do one on Friday. If we do, it'll be me and Jim, NFL only, which is something we'll probably do, but we haven't gone that road yet because we still have a few weeks to decide to do that. Otherwise, if you want to watch a lot more football coverage, you go to Our Lads, and there's a link in the description of this video. It goes right to the YouTube page where I do all of my football shows, NFL, college football. And in the next 2 days before the season kicks off, I am going to be posting like, I don't know, 5 to 10 videos, just probably closer to 10 on just predictions. So I've got I have interviewed over 60 analysts for college football and over 35 for the NFL. So we're almost at 100 interviews I've done between the NFL and college football since I started doing live 5 days a week coverage on Our Lads. So, and all those interviews are me talking to people who own or run or work for, like if it's work for a newspaper. Like they work for a paper and their job is to cover the football team. Or it's the owner of the channel or the website, that sort of thing. And what they are is they're covering one team. So this way I get to speak to someone that is dialed in on just one team all year. And that is really good information. Now, I'm not saying that you should listen to all of those interviews that last about 30 to 45 minutes. 90% of it you might think is useless. The reason I do it is to get a fact-finding mission on these teams, obviously. And the second is because we get the depth chart information, which is the lifeblood of Our Lads, who I work for. So I work for Our Lads, and Our Lads has the best depth charts in the industry. They make a lot of money because of that through advertising on their depth charts. And I try to do my part where a matter of fact, I just did a USC Trojans interview earlier today, and there were some adjustments. And then I basically feed that information over to the office and they change it. But when the season starts, that's when the format changes. And if I interview someone, I'm only interviewing them on the game ahead or what happened last week, or give me some injury updates. And I talk to them for like 15 minutes and then I move on to the next topic. And all week long between the NFL and college football, it's just all sorts of information on every key bit of interesting football tidbits that you could speak of that I think are important that week regarding a game or teams or whatever. So if you're really into football, into handicapping, the sport, or if you're just, you like football content in general, check us out over the Our Lads Football Network. So we do a really good job with it. And I got someone that's going to be with me every Saturday night at midnight to talk college football. So, which I can't believe I've agreed to this, even though I'm the one who suggested it. So it's one of those things where you suggest something and you're like, why did I suggest that? So that is something that we're going to start doing a week from Saturday, midnight. We take a look back at what happened during the day. The person who's going to come on is probably 20 years younger than me or more. And he goes to games each week. So he'll be in UNLV. He'll be in Las Vegas this week for the UNLV Memphis game. And he travels every Saturday or Friday. And so I'll hook up with him on a Saturday at midnight, and we're just going to take a look at the day's action, the big stories, the key highlights, and all that stuff. And so we figured it's a good thing to do because when you get up in the morning on Sunday and you want to find out, hey, what happened on college football yesterday, you'll have a show that you can turn to, and we'll have all the really cool stuff to let you know about, to inform you, key injury notes, biggest things that happened that you need to know about. And you get it right after the day, even if you're not going to stay up like us crazy people on Saturdays at midnight. And then it starts all over again, Monday through Friday. So if you're into that, and if you're into fantasy football, I'm going to do a fantasy football interview tomorrow on our show. So if you're into that, check the show out tomorrow. It's the only time we're going to be doing fantasy football before the season begins. All right. So that is it. I am out of here. Thanks once again for checking things out checking us out here on Proline TV. Jon Hardoon does a great job as always. Appreciate it. Hey, as long as we can have John, we'll have him. So it's up to him, and we'll be going here for what, another month or two before things start slowing down. And then things start slowing down a little bit, which is okay because you can't be red hot with graded stakes races all year long. But we still have some good racing to cover for. And again, if you like all the other sports that I just talked about, then you can check out here on Proline TV or on our lads. So good luck to everybody Saturday, excuse me. And we'll see everybody again next Thursday. More than likely, I think I said this before, we're more than likely every Thursday night between 7 and 7:30 start time. But if we say we're going to be on and all of a sudden you look on Thursday and we're not on, then always check for Friday, because that means we've kicked it to Friday, probably like around 12 o'clock. So we'll see everybody again next week. Thanks for tuning in. For Jon Hardoon, I'm Greg DePalma. Have a great Saturday.